Hi, this is Erwin Ironstone with Law Dog, often called Peter or Monster. Today I'm going to discuss some issues of law on. I see the red dot. Okay, I'm here with Law Dog, and Peter is Law Dog, and we're going to talk about something that happens very frequently in lots of states. The issue I'm going to talk about is someone I know who lives in New York, who basically was screwed by the system. And he tried to write to the governor, and he tried to write to other officials, but very, very little was done, although I must say they did reimburse him for overcollection for a certain amount, but certainly did not reimburse him for the entire amount. And it's a sad story. What happened was, a friend of mine had two children, and one died when he was 13. And although he learned about the death of his son, it was not directly. The son and his daughter lived with his mother, with their mother, his ex-wife. And the son had a blood disease, and he passed when he was 12 to 13. Now, what happened is he was so distraught, he didn't know what to do. And because of that, no one at Child Support Enforcement was notified that his son had died, and they kept collecting money at the same two-child rate until significantly later, years later. Now, one of the things that happened was he tried to file to terminate child support when, number one, he retired, and number two, when his daughter aged out. She was 21. Now, he had lots of difficulties because the system, child support enforcement system, doesn't like to stop collecting child support. And they were collecting support basically for both children, even though his son would have been about 24 or 25, which means they over-collected for at least 4 or 5 years. When they should have terminated it automatically because the son had aged out. But they also over-collected for, let's say, 6 or 7 years when the child had died. And how can we stop that? The easiest way I know of is to do computer matches by states sending in or requesting Social Security records from all children where they're collecting child support. And there are reasons for doing that. One is they can terminate child support and they don't defraud the federal government, which is what happens today. And again, I can say he notified Fred, notified the governor, he notified the Office of Child Support Enforcement. So what they did is they did return some money, but not all of the money that he should have gotten, that they had improperly collected, fraudulently in fact, collected from the federal government for collecting excessive child support. Now, how can we change that? Computer matches, where the state once a year or twice a year does matches of all those children who they have on their rolls that they're collecting money for against Social Security records or death tapes to make a determination whether they should terminate child support. That's one thing that they should do. Another thing that New York should do is, the law says that unless there's an agreement otherwise, they should terminate child support at 21. They don't. There too, the easiest way is to notify the custodial parent that child support is going to be terminated unless the child and or the custodial parent submits records that the child is still going to school, or alternatively that the parents had agreed to pay for additional college expenses for the child. Now, neither of those happens today, which means that if a child drops out of school, and this could be drops out of high school, or if he drops out of college, or he takes a minimal program in college, the city, state, or other government entity in New York continues to pay child support. That's wrong. You know, the city gets a certain amount for maintaining a child support system, as do the state of New York and just about every other state. It's either through an apportionment or a block grant. But states don't want to terminate child support because they're getting money from the federal government in order to run these systems, to maintain these systems, to run family courts, to run the whole child support enforcement system. So what they do is they negligently, fraudulently fail to do computer matches to terminate child support when a child either dies, ages out, or drops out of school. And I think that's an issue because when state governments give out money, they require people to sign waivers in many different instances so that they get paid back. For example, if someone goes to work and they're still on welfare, or I guess any type of social assistance, people would have to pay back money if they in fact were getting a job. The same thing happens when people have been in accidents and are collecting Medicaid, which is money that the county, state, or city provides so that people can in fact get medical care, those who are under a particular level of income. What happens also is the states have these people sign agreements so that if they collect money because of an accident settlement, or they collect money based upon a workers' compensation claim, the city gets a split of that money, and it reduces the amount that the city or state paid to Medicaid. Now, I don't know why something like that doesn't happen with child support, where they do the matches, but it doesn't. And Fred, this video is dedicated to you. I'll come back and talk about another issue in a little bit.